good morning to everybody. I'm happy to be back in London. We've done Solve here a few times, and I've been proud to be here every time. This morning, I want to spend a few minutes with you talking about the challenges that you face as IT leaders and how things are rapidly changing in our industry. The changes that are going on are leading us to one central question that we'd like to pose to you today, and that is, who are your experts? Who are your experts in the cloud? You may have an IT department. You may have an IT person. You may have a small team. You may be the expert in your organization, but whatever the case, you really have to decide what's the best use of your time. How do you put your resources best to use in your organization? Is it figuring out the best cloud platform and how to use it, or is it doing something that truly makes your business better? And I think that idea of expertise is really getting a lot of attention lately. In fact, there was a survey done recently by a company called Rackspace, and they asked the question in terms of what were the constraints or the things that held you back from embracing cloud. And lack of resources and lack of expertise was the number one barrier to cloud adoption in the survey. It's actually the first time that security was not the top of the list. And so it's a recognized issue. This is something that people are telling us. We're hearing it. And I want to talk to you a little bit about our view on what you're facing as an enterprise IT leader today. In fact, I'll call it the tale of two challenges. And by challenges, I mean the big elements of IT that you need to figure out and solve for. Those two big challenges are the ones that you have now and the ones that you will soon have. The ones that you have now start with your end users, thinking about the customers outside your company that are consumers of your website. That user is typically connecting into things like your digital platform, your e-commerce platform, your content management, some custom applications, maybe a mobile application. But then you also have sort of the internal challenges of the back office users, the people that are using collaboration tools, maybe SharePoint or a CRM system or email. Those are things that we have to deal with as IT leaders. Those are really all under the umbrella today, typically, of the central IT organization. And there's a lot of challenges, certainly, in managing all of that. A lot of also new challenges pop up. The shadow IT, you've heard of shadow IT, certainly. And people in the business trying to get things done, oftentimes building websites or deploying new applications in the cloud, test and dev, that sometimes accidentally become production. And you really have a lot going on to manage. And so we're seeing a real challenge for central IT. Some of those challenges are leading companies to start heading for cloud. So the challenge that you're headed for is to try to pick up applications, migrate applications, move existing services to a cloud. And some of you are already on that journey. Some of you may already be there. But others of you in this room are probably just starting to think about that cloud journey. If you're moving and thinking about moving, these are places that companies are really starting. Oftentimes it's app development, new applications being developed natively in the cloud, either that or modernizing existing applications, sometimes redeveloping those, or sometimes it's as simple as maybe a hardware refresh or a data center upgrade or a consolidation. We're hearing from customers all over that is sort of driving them to the cloud. Sometimes cost is another reason that people think they want to move to cloud, but more importantly are really the real hard IT reasons like the ones below. As we look forward, one of the things that we start to see is that the cloud is opening up opportunities for us to do more. And some of that is really helping us transform our businesses to the digital world. This digital transformation, though, really only brings us up to date. It only brings us current. When I think about thought leadership and looking into the future, I think about what's next, what we want to do after we've kind of brought ourselves current. And we want to embrace new technologies. We want to take advantage of new tools. And the Internet of Things is one that I hear a lot about. People are trying to sort of take advantage of a lot of the new connectivity opportunities that we have. They're trying to connect their users, make the experience better, maybe collect data possibly about users so that they can make the overall experience a lot better over time. So the Internet of Things, home automation, drones, we're hearing about drone delivery. You're probably going to see that on the horizon soon. All of the sensors that are part of drones are now storing and sort of creating data streams, data that needs to be stored and managed There's a whole plethora of new data platforms that have emerged over the last few years to allow companies to store and manage and actually find insights in the data that they are generating. And I think that's a new challenge. You've got more data to deal with. You've got real scale problems now with a lot of this data because it's machine generated, and you've got lots of new tools to really manage that data. When I think about data, another really cool trend that is sort of emerging lately is artificial intelligence and machine learning. AI is something that you hear probably more in science fiction, and I think a lot of people think it's really creating, thinking machines or robots that are going to take over our jobs. But I think in the real world, in today's world, it's probably more practical to think about AI and machine learning in terms of things like simple pattern recognition, things like face recognition or numerical recognition. This is how tools like Google's Street View can recognize your address. They're basically taking patterns in the data. They're looking at images. They're finding the patterns that are possible to break down from the digitalization of those machine images. And then the computers are able to start to recognize what a number 8 looks like in the real world. Now, this may lead us over time to more advanced uses of machine learning. I'm excited about this technology because of what's possible, not just in reading numbers, but in sort of reading the real world. If you think about what is enabling a self-driving automobile to actually function, it needs to know about the real world. It needs to be able to recognize the difference between a truck and a car. It needs to be able to see and sense how fast elements of the real world are moving. And really, that's what gets me excited about the next wave of what cloud is going to enable. And it's not just in this kind of context, it's in every context. Every business that I come across, I'm starting to see elements where a machine learning algorithm or an artificial intelligence capability could be put to good use in the business as well. So what are your next steps? If you think about those challenges that we talked about, and you're thinking beyond just modernization and getting current, what are you going to do next? Well, as you're planning those next steps, there are 3 factors that I think you should think about. First, the idea that the number of cloud options is dramatically greater than it was just a few years ago. I think in the early days of cloud, in the first wave of cloud computing, it was relatively simple. There were a few clouds and you didn't have that many choices. But today you've got public cloud, you've got private cloud, hybrid cloud, multi-cloud, all of these terms. And then not only the terms, but the companies that are offering those. It's just really getting crazy in terms of the number of options. And that brings with it complexity, the increase in the complexity of bringing all those together, not only the features, but also the tools that you're going to need to embrace to make the most of those clouds. And finally, the demand for the expertise, the demand for the engineers and the developers is skyrocketing. There are companies that are scrambling to find these people or train these people and really retain them on their payroll. I think these are increasingly hard to find, and businesses can't afford typically to find them and keep them on their payroll. At the same time, most businesses I'm coming across are trying to make sure that they're using their resources as effectively as possible, making sure that those people are helping derive value in the core business and not get involved in just the details of the cloud themselves. So for us, I think we really believe that we are your experts. Rackspace are your experts in terms of helping you take advantage of the cloud, move to the cloud if that's the direction you want to go, and hopefully free your engineers up for the things that I get excited about, like machine learning. New and better apps, new and better features. I think those are all of the things that customers are really looking for help with. And Rackspace, I think, is in a great position to help. We are today providing fanatical support for the world's leading clouds. Technology stacks like OpenStack and Amazon Web Services and Microsoft and the Azure Suite and VMware. And fanatical support brings Rackspace's expertise and our customer-obsessed, results-obsessed 24/7 customer service. In the past few years, we've been busy enhancing fanatical support by bringing fanatical support to Amazon Web Services. As I mentioned, we have now over 300 certified AWS experts on staff at Rackspace, and that number is growing every day. We're going to continue to invest in that partnership and bring more capabilities to you on the AWS platform. Also on Microsoft, we've invested heavily in fanatical support for Microsoft Azure. This is furthering our long-standing relationship with Microsoft and deepening our partnership and building on our 5-time Microsoft Hosting Partner of the Year status, and we're excited about the future of Rackspace plus Microsoft. OpenStack, one of my favorite topics. OpenStack is the technology behind our public cloud and a lot of the private clouds that we deploy. There's a lot going on here as well. We have one of the best SLAs in the industry for OpenStack, 99.99% uptime. We have recently launched a product that we call OpenStack Everywhere. We can deploy OpenStack not just in our data centers, but in your data centers or a partner or really anywhere that it makes sense. We've recently just released the latest version of OpenStack. We've partnered with Intel on what we call the OpenStack Innovation Center, where we're collaborating on features and technologies that are going into the product. And so lots going on with this technology. And last but not least, VMware. We continue our long-running relationship with VMware so that no matter what technology stack you're on, whether it's VMware, virtualization, private cloud, public cloud, we can help you and we can really take you on the journey to the cloud. Now, our work has been recognized by the third-party industry experts at Gartner. We work with Gartner for many years as we've developed our product, and this is leading to really some new categories in terms of how they look at the market. This one represents the infrastructure as a service, and if you look at the leaders in this quadrant, Amazon Web Services, Microsoft, Rackspace, Google, and others show up here. Another quadrant that they're tracking is something that they call cloud-enabled managed hosting, what we call managed cloud. Rackspace leads the way here, and when we think about the real opportunity, it's to put those two things together and bring together the best public clouds with the best expertise and service and bring together something that is not really available anywhere else. How Rackspace can really make those clouds more valuable is the real outcome of fanatical support. So what made us this leader in this position? I think it's really the focus, the company's focus on fanatical support, and then also the focus on the areas that we're hearing from customers where they need the help. They need help in that digital transformation. They need help managing data. They need help scaling and managing applications, whether it's internal applications behind the firewall or external customer facing. They need help with that back office, cloud office capability, IT transformation, and last but not least, security. Security is probably one of the top requests from our customers, and you'll hear a lot more about that today. So when you bring all of that together, it's that workload expertise on top of a variety of leading industry infrastructure platforms combined with Rackspace's fanatical support on the foundation of top-notch security. And that's what really gets me excited about talking to you today and bringing these solutions to you. And today I also want to make sure that we don't just have Rackers talking to you about what we're doing. We want to make sure we have customers. So we've got some great examples of these today for you. Akamai is a partner. They're going to talk to you about scalability, security, and speed. As I mentioned earlier, we have a partnership with AWS, and AWS is here today to talk about that partnership and what's going on there. One of our customers, Graze, is here to tell you about how they're solving some of their challenges and innovations with fanatical support for AWS. And I even heard that they brought some of their delicious snacks along, so I hope that's a good bit of news for you. From great snacks to a good hair day, here GHD is going to be here to talk to you about how they're in the habit of disruption. Later in the day, we'll hear about how companies are solving big data problems in the real world with one of our partners, Worldwide Tech. And Dan Cobley, the former managing director of Google in the UK, is here now today to talk about some of the challenges and solutions that he's working on. So overall, I think you're going to have a great day. I think it's going to be a fun and informative day. I'll be around all day to talk to you about whatever you're interested in chatting about, and I hope you have a great Solve London. Thank you very much.